Our scripture passage this morning comes from the book of Job, chapter 12, verses 7 through 10. But ask the animals, and they will teach you, the birds of the air, and they will tell you. Ask the plants of the earth, and they will teach you, and the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In God's hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of every human being.
So it's Earth Sunday, and I have the privilege of preaching this morning. It sounds easy enough to preach about nature or the earth, but addressing a topic so broad, which engenders such strong feelings, is a more challenging task than you might think. I could have preached about the destruction of the planet and all the things we need to do to help address climate change, but you can view any number of TED Talks on the internet about that and hear a similar message. Then I thought I could preach about the beauty of creation and God's majesty and creativity and how nature fills us with wonder and awe. But surely you've heard that sermon before. What could I tell you that you don't already know? So I found myself getting stuck as I was trying to prepare my message. And then someone asked me, well, why are you called to protect the environment? Without giving it a second thought, my immediate answer was, for my children. Since they are my inspiration, I decided to write a letter to my sons, Soren and Emerson, and share it with all of you. So here's my message to my boys. Dear Soren and Emerson, I'm writing this letter to you in April 2024, but presumably you're reading it many years later, if for no other reason than the fact that neither of you can read right now, since you are 3 and 4 years old, respectively. I asked you to open this letter when you found yourselves angry or sad or despondent about the current state of the earth. At the time of writing, this planet has already changed a lot. We no longer have reliably warm or cold, wet or dry seasons. The first climate refugees have already started moving from their homes. People in Pakistan and Tuvalu, and right here in the United States, in coastal Louisiana. When you read this, I wonder what the world will be like. Where will you live? Were your decisions influenced by climate change? Dad is from Michigan. Did you move there to be closer to family and away from the coastline? Are you going to have children, or more importantly, give me grandchildren? Or have you chosen not to because you don't want to bring more people into a planet that's becoming uninhabitable? I know many people who have chosen not to have children because of climate change, so I wouldn't be surprised if either or both of you made the same choice. You grew up learning about animals such as the polar bear and the monarch butterfly and the northern white rhino. Are these species still with us, or have they gone extinct, like the millions of other species that have died off? I had the wonderful opportunity to snorkel in beautiful places like Belize and Thailand and Mexico. What are the coral reefs like these days? Are any of them still vibrant and colorful? Or have they all been bleached because of ocean acidification? I asked you to open this letter only if you were mad or sad about the condition of the earth, so presumably you're feeling pretty awful right now. And so first of all, as your mom, I want to say, I'm sorry. None of the generations that came before you did enough. Dad and I, our friends and community members, we all could have done more. But to be honest, we're comfortable. Just like you like being comfortable, so do we. It's hard to change habits and behaviors when nobody's forcing you to, and when it may cause discomfort, inconvenience, or cost money. These aren't excuses, they're just hard and shameful truths. But I want to give you a little context and explain why baby boomers and Gen X and millennials and even Gen Z, what we have done to protect the earth. I know you're angry and it might not seem like enough, but millions of people around the world have committed themselves to the task of addressing climate change. I'm currently one of the pastors at Naples United Church of Christ, the incredible church where we raised both of you. You may remember the congregation. Maybe I'm still a pastor there. It's a community full of people who love God, love each other, and love the planet. The members of Naples UCC are committed to living for something beyond themselves and their own well-being. They know they were put on this earth to help others, and each person does that in their own way. Just as Dad and I and your 4 grandparents love you in a way that defies description, the people of the church I serve, they love their families just as much. I hear stories all the time about their children and grandchildren, their nieces and nephews, their jobs, where they go to school, where they go on vacation, who just had a baby, who got a great internship. They love their families beyond measure. I tell you this because just as we have spent our lives trying to make choices which protect the earth, so have they. Many of the people in the church I serve, they drive hybrid and electric cars. They recycle. They turn their thermostats up when they're not home. They put solar panels on their roofs. They landscape with native plants. They use reusable bags, and they conserve water. They donate money to environmental organizations that are working to protect the earth. They call and write emails to their representatives. They show up at city council meetings and county commissioner meetings. They worry too. They're afraid too. We all are. Please don't think that in 2024 everyone was blissfully unaware or willfully ignoring the facts in front of us. We aren't. I told you about my church, but there are people of faith in churches all around the world that are committed to following Christ through helping to care for the planet. The people in those churches have children and grandchildren, and we're all worried. That's why we're doing what we can to save this earth for you and your generation and those who will come after you. Some of the grown-ups in 2024 have lived through Hurricane Katrina and Superstorm Sandy. We've repaired our homes and replaced our cars that were destroyed by natural disasters. We've coughed and wheezed and felt our eyes burn because of red tide. We've seen our favorite businesses, especially restaurants, affected by hurricanes. But we've also seen the world come together. People alive today remember rationing during World War II so the soldiers could have the supplies they needed to fight fascism. We've harnessed the knowledge of the most brilliant scientists, and we huddled around our TVs as we witnessed the first people to set foot on the moon. We watched in horror as the planes hit the Twin Towers on 9/11. We grieved and we loved and we helped and we came together in the aftermath of that horrific tragedy. We stayed home in order to protect each other from the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. I've been around a little longer than you have, which means I've seen more of what humanity is capable of. And I just want to remind you that if humanity specializes in one thing, it's doing the impossible. We are constitutionally equipped to address climate change. We have already made some good progress. You'll remember that I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. The Cuyahoga River, it used to be terribly polluted and it was known for catching fire. But it has been cleaned up through the efforts of the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, Cleveland city government, and partners along the river. The river is cleaner than it's been in 150 years, and there are 60 species of fish thriving in its waters. There was a huge hole in the ozone layer, and after a successful international agreement, it's almost completely repaired. When humanity comes together, we can do great things. So don't give up hope. Your dad and I raised you in the church. Remember that however grim things may seem, your current reality cannot undermine the hope that God offers us. The wise Saint Oscar Romero once said, "There are many things that can only be seen through eyes that have cried." So cry, yell, be angry, be sad, grieve, feel all the feelings, but never give up hope. Our hope comes from God, the one who loves us and loves the earth that God has entrusted to our care. And remember, it is not fear that motivates us to work for change. It is love. Love is the most powerful motivator. Love of God, love of nature, love of beauty, love of children, love of the impossible way in which this planet provides all living things with everything we need to survive. When we allow ourselves to love creation in these ways, when we allow ourselves to face the extent to which humanity has threatened all that we love, we find the courage to respond to the crisis at hand. Dad and I knew when we were choosing to have children that we'd probably be leaving you with a planet that is worse off than the one we were born into, and we truly weighed the ethical implications of having children. But we also knew that if we had kids, we were going to do everything we could to instill in you a deep love of the earth, two people who would be taught that they had the power and the responsibility to protect it. We figured that since people are having children anyways and more people were coming into this world, we might as well have kids whom we'd raise to be forces for good. So, my dear sons, find what you love about creation and work to protect it. If you need help remembering what you love, Soren, you love sharks. So maybe you can help protect the oceans. And Emerson, you love birds. You're constantly pointing out every bird you see in the sky. Maybe you can help protect them. You can't do it all, but you can trust that others are working to protect other parts of the planet. You also can get engaged with politics. A way to protect the earth is through policy change. We have taught you how to reach out to your representatives. Your elected officials matter. So help work to elect people who want to protect the world. Or you can run for office. Your dad loves working on political campaigns. He can help you. And once you win that election, fight for the planet like your lives depend on it. Here in 2024, there is a young woman named Greta Thunberg who inspired a whole generation of young people to protect the earth and hold adults accountable. She has spoken to gatherings of the most powerful people in the world. Another group of young people, 169 of them, including kids from UCC churches, sued the government, saying that they had violated their constitutional rights to life, liberty, and property, as well as failed to protect essential public trust resources. Don't ever think that you're too young or too inexperienced or too busy to make a difference. The truth is, nobody has time to address climate change. Dad and I are busy with our jobs and raising you. Middle-aged people are busy at the height of their careers and launching their children into college and the start of their young lives. Retirees want to enjoy their third act, and they may not have the energy or the resources. Everyone has an excuse, but everyone also has the same grave choices. We all live on this planet. We all rely on the food, the water, and the air that it provides. We all want beautiful places to recreate, and we want the plants and animals to thrive. So do what you can. Carve out the time that you can in your daily decisions. Make the earth-friendly choices that you can make, and don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Remember that a little bit better is better than no progress at all. You may be angry at the generations who came before you, and rightfully so, but we didn't do nothing. We are trying, and we are committed to doing better because we know that our legacy matters. People born in the 20th century, we care about the world we are leaving you, our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We want you to inherit a better world than the one we were born into. And hopefully in many ways it will be better, more peaceful, more prosperous, but the environment might be in worse shape. Each generation is a steward of the earth while they're alive. Your dad and I, we could shake our fists at those who came before us, but it wouldn't do any good. Instead, we're focused on what we can do because we want the earth to be safe for you and your generation. We love you both very much, and we expect you to do what you can for those who will come after you. Love, Mom.